Where would you like me to start?
The beginning. I want to get it all.
Okay. My name is Pepper Green. The year is 184 T16, and today I'm going to begin to expose Darthead Incorporated for who they are, or what they've become.
State for the record who Darthead is, please.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the thing. Darthead is our savior. We wouldn't exist without them. They should have been better.
Explain.
Okay. 60 years ago, long before I was born, a plague swept over the continent. There was no warning except an eclipse that came swiftly and lasted for days. The history books compare it to a symbol of doom coming for the world. This plague wasn't like other ones that come through rats or pigs. No, this came through the water. No one has any idea of the cause of it, and no one knows if it could have been prevented. It was the greatest natural disaster of all time. The water that every form of life lived off of became toxic. With no new, clean drinking water, most forms of life began dying as a result, and prepackaged drinking water had to be rationed. The vines in the city dried up, and all that remained was stone and dirt. All people knew was desperation and fear, and no one really knew where to turn to. It's well documented that all anyone could do was to wait. The only sound that came from Osesa were the desperate pleas for help. It was a nightmare.
I said, darling, you're gonna kill me. I said, baby, don't you want me to?
One young man decided that he couldn't sit and wait for death or help any longer. He made a promise to those he loved that he would seek help and wouldn't return without it. That man was Logan Darthead. Logan traveled the world in desperate hope of finding answers or some form of civilization that had access to drinking water. He survived on rationed bottled water and bare essentials.
And what happened next?
Well, that's the thing. No one really knows. Legend has it that on the brink of death from dehydration and starvation, Logan was visited by the gods, directing him to an underground spring that provided pure and clean drinking water. It's said that Logan made a choice to never reveal where the spring was because, in the world's state of desperation, the surviving world may destroy the spring or each other in a panicked rush to get water. Instead, and now we're coming back around to the facts, Logan founded Darthead Incorporated and began to build an empire. I mean, think about it. It can't have been difficult. Asshole. Sorry. Logan had a monopoly on the thing that all living beings need in order to survive. Logan was viewed as the world's savior, and he believed it himself. How couldn't you? You've literally saved the world, and people tell you that you were sent by the gods for that purpose. How could you not start believing them and fall into your own fantasy? Anyways, over the next 10 to 15 years, Darthead grew and began making deals with other businesses, helping to restructure society as we knew it. As the world slowly regained some sense of normalcy, Darthead was perfectly positioned as a leader in the community and a voice people turned to. In addition to selling clean water, they began buying out and absorbing more and more companies so that before anyone had any idea what was going on, they had control of the food industry, any material goods you could need, and even the governing powers of Osesa began following their orders. They were essentially able to take whatever power that they wanted and continued expanding their reach, all the while never revealing where their water was coming from. Around 30 years ago, a pretty major turning point happened when people began to wake up a little bit and were like, oh shit, these guys are ruling everything and can do whatever they want, and that's bad. They demanded that Darthead reveal where their water came from and that Logan step down from power. That went about as good as you can expect. Do you really need me to go over this part? Everyone knows this.
I want it all. It's our insurance if things don't go our way.
Well, a war broke out. A band of resistance fighters made up of all species and led by the dragons made a stand against Darthead. They tried protest but were eventually pushed to self-defense and violence, and they didn't stand a chance. There was a brief war, if you can call it that, before Darthead squashed them like a bug. They had too much power at this point and they controlled their own militia. They had too many sheep following them. In the end, the resistance was all but destroyed, having no chance to surrender. As an example, Logan had the dragons driven from the land, and an attempt to govern extinction was made. With the dragons dead or gone, their name is dead too, and any mention of them is seen as treason. Ever since the war, no one has questioned them again or attempted any kind of revolt.
So this brings us to the present day?
Almost. Logan retired recently and handed the company off to his granddaughter, Charlotte, who now oversees the company as CEO. Darthead remains extremely present in the public eye, controlling the food industry, law and government, media, and of course the drinking water. Their headquarters are right here in Osesa, and they sit comfy in the tallest building looming large over all of us. There are groups of people that oppose anyone having that much power, but they usually don't make too much of a fuss. Rumors are that they are shut down before they can reach a wider audience. Darthead is still determined in its goal to never allow life essentials such as drinking water to disappear again. Currently, it's expanding its reach and territory far past Osesa. Charlotte, well, let's face it, she's just a genius. In order to improve the public image of Darthead with the expansion, she's basically wiped out unemployment by creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs with the expansion. She's trying to live up to her family name, and she's definitely not sucking. The details are always foggy, though. I believe that Darthead has way more skeletons in their closet, and I'm going to find them. Good people, friends, have gone missing when they attempt to ask the wrong questions. Most people are unaware or don't know what they do in the shadows, and Darthead is well aware of the fact that they could get away with murder because they have deniability. That's where I come in. I'm going to expose these assholes for what they are and what they've done from the inside. My name is Piper Green, and if you're listening to this, we failed and I didn't make it. Wish me luck!